In today's video, I am going to be talking all about ultra feminine and pretty fragrances. So if that is your vibe, then please do keep on watching. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I already mentioned in the intro, today's video is going to be all about ultra feminine and pretty fragrances. And this video was somewhat inspired by Barbie. I'm wearing pink to give off those Barbie vibes. I did consider making a Barbie inspired video. However, this felt a little bit more in keeping with the style of videos that I personally like to create. So they kind of are Barbie-ish style fragrances, but at the same time, some of these are super elegant, ultra feminine, pretty fragrances too. So without further ado, let's get started on the first fragrance. Fleur Burlesque by Vilhelm, and I have been wanting to add this one to my collection for the longest time. I'm slowly collecting my favorite Vilhelm fragrances, and Fleur Burlesque is just so suitable for this category. It's feminine, it's pretty, yet it's still classy. However, I feel like this one is also quite sexy. It has quite a carnal feel to it. There's a creamy gardenia up top, and there's a beautiful jasmine note in here. So it is feminine, it is pretty, but it also can pull quite sexy, depending on what you class as sexy in your fragrances. However, I feel like this is very much appropriate for a date night. But don't get me wrong, I would still wear this to work or for a special occasion. I would wear this to any event, to be completely honest with you. And it's actually my scent of the day. I'm going into London today. I'm going to a fragrance event actually and hanging out with one of my friends. We're going to go shopping. We're going to go perfume sniffing, and we're going to go and eat donuts. I'm completely obsessed with donuts. Let me get back on topic. Fleur Burlesque, there's some sandalwood in the mid and there's amber in the base, and I just feel like this is such an underrated fragrance. It's a lot more complex than just those notes, but it is a very carnal, floral fragrance. I almost get a soft powdered feel from it too. It feels like there's some vanilla in here, but it's a very soft and again, quite a translucent amber. And maybe when I'm smelling that kind of translucent, softer amber note, it pulls more feminine to me. Now, this one is quite new to my collection. I have worn it a couple of times already, but I am going to be wearing it all day today again. So I will do a more in-depth review in the future. But if you like the sound of a more carnal, sexy, feminine, pretty and elegant fragrance, I would highly recommend checking out Fleur Burlesque. If I can find a website which sells samples, I will link it down below. But if you have tried Fleur Burlesque, please do let me know your feedback, because I don't see many people talking about this one. I think I've seen Demi talk about it, but I don't think many other people talk about it. I might be wrong in that, so sorry if I am. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on Fleur Burlesque. The next fragrance is one of my favorite fragrances of all time, and it is none other than Dries van Noten Soie Malaquais. I absolutely adore this fragrance. It's absolutely in my top 10, could be in my top 5, maybe my top 3. I've never really thought about my top 5 or my top 3, so maybe I will do a video about that in the future. But let's get on to the fragrance. Now, this one is extremely special in my collection. I actually try not to wear it, which I know is really silly, but I want to keep this for really special occasions. I want to build certain scent memories around this fragrance. This is one that you can absolutely wear every day, but for me personally, I'm currently reserving it for special occasions. I need to change that, I know. Soie Malaquais. Ultra feminine, very pretty. It's soft, it's silky as the name suggests, but it's also strong and powerful. This is a real feminine fragrance in my opinion. It's really juicy up top. So you're getting lots and lots of blackcurrant in the opening and a little bit of bergamot too. In the middle, there's a silk note. And I don't quite know what silk smells like, but this does have a very, very silky quality to it. It's so smooth and so buttery. There's a little bit of rose, but I don't think the rose is super prominent. It's quite a soft and sweet rose in my opinion. And then there is chestnut and cacao in the base. From the moment I saw the notes of this fragrance, I had my eye on it so strongly, and I went and sampled it in Selfridges, and it was an instant love at first sniff, and I bought it on the spot. And this isn't a nutty fragrance, it's more buttery in my experience, and it kind of gives a kind of roasted chestnut vibe, but not too much. Don't think of this as like a smoky chestnut fragrance, because it is not that at all. And then the cacao is very slight. It's like there's just a little bit of a sweet dusting there, but not too much. On me, the sillage of this one is incredible. I sampled it in Selfridges, as I just mentioned. I had it on my hand, and obviously I bought it that day too, but I was walking around London and I just kept getting wafts in the air, and oh my God, I was so addicted to the smell of this one. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm so glad lots of people are discovering this one too, because it is a really, really special fragrance. I've had it for at least 6 months now, and I barely made a dent in it. It's about here. I might make a pact with myself to try and wear it more, but that being said, I think it is really nice to have a special occasion fragrance in your fragrance wardrobe, personally, to build those scent memories. Am I alone in that? Does anyone else do it? Or do you think I should just go ahead and start wearing my Soie Malaquais? So if you can get a sample of this one, do try to. I think it would be quite hard to get a decant of this one, because Dries van Noten isn't very popular in terms of their fragrances, although they are starting to get more popular. If I can find somewhere where you can get a decant, I will link it down below. But if you like the sound of blackcurrant, chestnut, silkiness, a little bit of cacao, then try and check out this one, because it is really magical. Next up is Peregrina from Thameen, and this one is probably one of the most feminine and pretty fragrances within this list. I think this one is truly, truly special, and I am a little bit addicted to it. It makes me feel so feminine and pretty when I wear this one. It just has a vibe to it. I don't know how to explain it. And this really kind of warms up and gets sweeter on my skin, and it really smells completely different on paper compared to how it smells on my skin. This is floral, it's caramel. I felt like I couldn't breathe for a minute then. My heart skipped a little bit of a beat. Oh, I love it. Caramel, vanilla, floral. This is ultra feminine, super, super pretty. This would be a modern day Barbie in my opinion. She'd be a very classy Barbie. This isn't no tacky Barbie. And Peregrina is just that girl. There's rose, there's jasmine, there's gardenia, there's caramel, there's vanilla, there's a little bit of amber in this one too. It has ylang ylang, it has myrrh, there's some powdery notes in the base, and then there's just a touch of musk. And wow, I'm obsessed with Peregrina. I've spoken about it in a few videos now, and I really feel like if you are someone that really loves your ultra feminine and pretty fragrances and you have not sampled Peregrina before, then you absolutely need to get your nose on this one, but do wear it on the skin. That is where the magic happens, for me at least anyway. Next up, we have Princess by Kilian, or the long name is I Don't Need a Prince by My Side to Be a Princess. I actually love this name. I think it is so true. But what I want to say about Princess is it's an ultra feminine and pretty fragrance. Of course, it's in this list, but it's also quite soft. It's a little bit marshmallowy, a little bit powdery. There's some tea in here, there's some peach in here, and it's just a cloud of pillowy marshmallow goodness to my nose. I feel like this one is ultra feminine and pretty. I feel like this fragrance is fun, it's playful, and it's a different take on a pretty fragrance compared to some of the other ones within my list. You've got green tea and ginger, which gives this a little bit of a bite, but this is still very much a sweet and soft fragrance in my opinion. There's some white peach, there's some marshmallow. You've got a little bit of apple, you've got some head wine, and there's vanilla in the base. You have to like your fragrances sweet, because I do find this fragrance really, really sweet. But I feel like that powdery kind of vanilla cloud, that marshmallow, stops it from being sickly sweet, for my preferences at least. And if you are a fan of marshmallow scents, but you want to temper it a little bit with a tea note and a little bit of ginger, then sample Princess, because I was so late to the game on this one. It was very popular for a long time, and I was only able to get it in the UK recently when they brought out the new packaging, and I don't know what I was doing not having this in my collection. I absolutely love it, and if you want a pretty fragrance, then definitely check out Princess. Next up, we have Juliette Has A Gun. Is the name. Feels really weird saying that. And to me, this is the ultimate Barbie fragrance. And I know this isn't a Barbie video, but for me, this is what Barbie would smell like. And I have my reasons for this. Now, it is also ultra feminine and pretty. It's very sweet, and it's got this kind of Play-Doh vibe to it. This smells like what Barbies used to smell like. I don't know if they still do the same thing, but growing up, when I was a child and a little girl, and I'd be playing with my Barbie dolls, they had this scent to it. It's a very artificial kind of strawberry vanilla. People often describe it as the doll's head smell. And please do let me know if you understand what I'm talking about. When you were playing with dolls, did they have that doll's head smell to it? And if so, how did that smell to you? Because to me, it was kind of like a powdery vanillic Play-Doh-y strawberry scent. And it's kind of what this one smells like. Now hear me out. It is a grown-up version of that, of course, but it's got this kind of Play-Doh-y marzipan feel to it. Instead of strawberry, this is raspberry, and it's definitely very vanillic too. There's some musk, there's some caramel, there's iris, there's geranium, there's lots and lots of notes in here, but how I perceive it is, yeah, just a very adult version of that doll's head smell. It's musky. It's like complex Play-Doh or perfumed Play-Doh with sweetness, with raspberry, with vanilla, a little bit of musk, and then the caramel. Have you sampled this fragrance? Please do let me know down in the comments, and please do let me know what you get from this particular fragrance. But as I mentioned, this is what a modern day adult Barbie would smell like, in my opinion. It's a very, very fun fragrance, and it's actually really strong. I was wearing this one yesterday and it was projecting really beautifully. So yeah, Juliette Has A Gun is another fragrance that I find ultra feminine and pretty, but this one is fun and playful at the same time. And the last fragrance that I want to talk about today is from Kayali, and this one is Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper. And I believe this is Mona Katan's favorite Kayali fragrance from her own line. And to me, they have a lot of feminine fragrances within the Kayali collection, but Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper really stands out to me as being ultra feminine, pretty. It's fun, it's boisterous, and a little bit sexy. And that sexiness is coming from the pink pepper and the saffron. And I just feel like this is quite a fun fragrance from the lineup. I could have given you lots of different pretty fragrances from Kayali, such as Deja Vu White Flowers, but to me, this is the ultimate feminine fragrance. And it was one of the first, if not the first fragrance I ever tried from Kayali. And I first had a 10ml bottle and I went through that. And I think it's such a gorgeous and timeless fragrance. It's gonna leave you smelling very, very feminine, but also quite addictive. It's sexy too. And I haven't worn this one recently. Oh, such a good fragrance. It really, really is. It's got lots of rose in here, but then that pepper and that saffron just gives this an edge, which makes it feminine, but sexy and feminine. There's vanilla orchid, there's magnolia, there's some vanilla, there's some sandalwood, and of course the patchouli in the base. And I feel like Kayali does patchouli really well. It's always pulling quite sweet, which is my personal preference when I can smell patchouli in a fragrance. But yeah, I just think this is such a great one from Kayali. The projection and longevity is great on me. I get at least 7 hours with this one with a great sillage. And yeah, I just think this one is ultra feminine and very pretty. So that was all of the fragrances that I wanted to share with you today. I of course had so many more that I could have added to this list, but I always do like to keep my lists a little bit more concise than just showing you 20 fragrances. I hope you don't mind that. But what I want to know, and it's the thing that I always want to know, is what fragrances do you have in your collection, or not necessarily have in your collection, but have smelt before, do you think are ultra feminine and pretty? I would love to hear your opinions on this. I regularly find such incredible gems through the comments section, so please do keep them coming. Do not gatekeep those amazing recommendations. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much and goodbye.